welcome to All Hands on Tech. It is Tuesday. It is time to build some games, and my apologies for being late. I did a Windows update on the machine that I usually stream from, and it killed Windows. Totally killed Windows. Don't really know why. Really threw a wrench in my plans. However, I still have Linux on that machine, so I rebooted and went into Linux, and we're going to do the stream from Linux today. So the overlay is a little bit old. It's an older one that we haven't used for a while, but that is the one that's available. For the last 5 minutes, I've been basically setting up OBS to stream to our location here. So let's see. All right, looks like we are up and live. And I'll do a quick tech check to see that we're live everywhere we intended to be live today. Let's see, we are on. Looks like we are up on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch. All right. So I'm not going to have some of the razzle dazzle and other cool stuff that that we often have, but that's fine. We can do this in Linux. I promise you. Actually, it does not look like we're up on LinkedIn, but we're up everywhere else. So we're going to roll with it. All right. The chat is live. This that I have open was actually yesterday's project where I wrote a chat GPT. I wrote an application using only chat GPT as a source. Actually, we could do that today with Phaser. So I'm going to make a directory here called Phaser game. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some more stuff with Phaser games. Now, last week we did some stuff that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. We did, let's see, there it is, Phaser game. Open that up. We don't need to save the workspace for that one. Yeah, I mostly trust the authors, the author being me. And so today I was thinking we could find another Phaser tutorial. So I had some things put together for this stream on, I had it put together on the other machine that's now dead. So we're not able to do that. However, looks like we have 1 minute here so I can get something. I apologize. A few technical issues here. Gotta log into a couple things to check. All right, so we're going to be working with Phaser. Now, we've done this before quite a bit. We did this in the last, we've been doing some game development stuff. Last week we went through, and we'll kind of go through a recap of last week here. Phaser tutorial. I think it's like the #1 thing that you find when you search for Phaser tutorials is that one basic tutorial. And we went through that and we built a Phaser game with a player that moves around and everything. So let's go to that making your first game. English. We will download this zip file and we're going to put this zip file in our repos folder. And we'll just make a new folder called Phaser, and this is where we'll put all our Phaser stuff here. Hello, Frank. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And there's a message here from YouTube that says, I've been programming for a while, or at least I try. Mostly web applications and desktop apps with C#. I create, but games require totally different logic. Games are totally different. One of the main ways that they're different is just kind of the setup, the way the things are run. So we have right here, actually I have the code on the screen to explain what I mean. So with a lot of applications like desktop applications, you load up a main window, you have a main window that's constantly pulling for events. You send it events through your UI. It's kind of a structure that makes sense. There's many variations. That's, of course, overly simplified. Okay. But games are a little bit different. And then you have things like MVC patterns and things like that. Oops. And I apologize again. I am trying to pull this thing together. I really am. I'm actually not logged into many of the things that I need to be logged into right now. But hey, we fix stuff in real time. That's how we do it. I will continue my thought, though, I promise, here in just a minute. As soon as I can figure out what I just did here. There we go. We'll login verification code. There we go. Okay, now I can see your chat messages on Twitch. I hope. There we go. Okay. We're here. All right, it's back. So there's things like the MVC pattern. There's things like, so you have listeners that listen for HTTP requests in an API. So there's these different patterns. The patterns in games are very similar in Unity and in C++ and in Phaser that I've found, that we have these three phases that you can see right here. We have preload, which is load up stuff before we begin. There's a create, and this function's run one time when the game is created. And then there's update that runs constantly, and there's a constant loop, and that's called the game loop. And so getting your mind around those types of things, like where should you put this, and kind of put those together, can definitely kind of bend your mind a little bit, at first. But then it gets easier as time goes on, and especially if you've done other programming, then you'll start to see a lot of patterns and be like, oh, okay, that's how this works, and etc. We're going to extract everything here in this Phaser 3 tutorial source zip. And I'm going to copy all these files in here, including, well, we're going to copy just the assets and part 10, because that was the end of the tutorial. Go in here to Phaser game, paste, and let's just walk through that very quickly. So part 10 HTML is the completed HTML. So this game runs entirely within a single file, which not usually how you do it. Hello, and Hogwarts says, where's our favorite bearded programmer? Well, I'm going to guess you're talking about David, because I'm also a bearded programmer. However, probably not your favorite. Our favorite bearded programmer, actually, so last week he was out and about. He did a tour of a really awesome place, and I think he's going to tell everybody about it on his stream. He's probably going to tell everyone about it on social. I actually haven't been on social enough to know if he has already. But he had the trip of a lifetime last week, so that's why he wasn't streaming. Totally understandable. And I actually had forgotten about it too. And I did a stream on my personal stream, and I was going to raid his channel. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's not streaming today. But yeah, he is definitely going to be in a great mood the next time you all see him all, because he's done some cool stuff last week. So sleeps. Yeah, he might be sleeping right now. I don't know. I'm not sure. So let's just take a look at this. And this is all the stuff that we did last week. We put in this config. We followed the tutorial pretty much to a T. We put in this config that basically says, this is the type of phaser game it is. It's an 800 by 600. That's your screen. Arcade physics. We had some gravity, which I actually don't know what that gravity setting is, other than I know it's on the y-axis, so it's holding things down. So if you're staring top down like a dungeon type thing, it's you want to turn that off. And we had some stuff that we preloaded here. We had a player, stars, bombs, platforms, all this stuff. We went through the preload stuff. We loaded up all of the things in this asset folder. And then we got to the create function, where we had to create the sky, and we had to add these groups. And the groups were mainly for collision detection. So we added these different groups. We kind of put colliders on them, stuff like that. We created a sprite, animated it, etc. Let's run this and see what it looks like. I did do a little bit different, a few things a little bit differently, just to make it more fun. But we'll go here, we'll go to localhost. Oh, not 1313, localhost 3000, I believe. That's where I want to be. And this was the game that we built last week, according to a tutorial. So now we're going to find a different tutorial. Go here. And this was last week's game. We can modify this game today too. That'd be pretty fun. See what kind of silly things we can add. And also, like I mentioned yesterday, I built that app with ChatGPT. We could use ChatGPT to answer questions that we might have about adding things to this game. Basically, we just got to know what to ask. That's the biggest thing I'm finding about ChatGPT. It's all about the prompts. And I'm probably not even logged into ChatGPT, am I? So this was our game. Very fun game. Very cool. But we're going to do something different today. So I'm going to start another window here for our ChatGPT stuff. Switch accounts. There we go. Log into ChatGPT. For some reason, I always forget chat.openai.com. Here's our ChatGPT window. So we can close this one out for now. And yesterday, as you can see, as I said, we did this drone program that tracks all your drones. I did that on my personal stream. Today, we're going to do some stuff with Phaser. We could just say, how do you create a new game in Phaser? I believe this is, it's definitely aware of Phaser. So first you need to download Phaser and set up your development environment. We've done that. Set up your project, create a new folder, set up your development environment. Let's just go through this thing and let's see how far we get by using ChatGPT to create our game. So instead of part 10 HTML, we're going to do index.html. Do I have my... yeah. I do not have my plugin in here, but I'm going to do that really quick. HTML boilerplate. This is a cool plugin for Visual Studio Code if you've never used it. It's very simple. Actually, we'll put in some some of this other stuff here. Format HTML. Ooh. Oh, and PHP. So with this plugin, you can type HTML and then have HTML boilerplate, and it will create just a boilerplate, kind of a starting point for your HTML application. So we're going to put in a title here. This is our new game. Yay! We'll take that out of there. We don't care about that. For now, we'll put in an H1. This is our super awesome game. And we'll go into this, and we'll take our phaser from CDN. We'll even take that style out of there, because that seems reasonable enough. As you can see, we have a link for a style sheet here in that boilerplate, but I don't know if we're going to do a style sheet yet. Hello, Mohammed. Thank you for joining. It has been very fun to build games on this chat. And so you might see me talking to other people in chat, and you can see it right above my head here is the main chat window that has everybody from YouTube and Twitch and all that kind of stuff. Playing Hogwarts Legacy, but I have an alarm set for all hands on deck, so I was surprised. Yeah, so I do it every Tuesday. David does it every Thursday. We alternate back and forth. I was doing like a lot of C#.NET stuff. However, now I decided I'm going to do a game like David is doing. However, David actually knows how to build games and has built games, several of them. I don't. I am a software developer. I know the languages, but I'm still learning the games. So what I'm doing here is just kind of learning with everybody, if that makes sense. Everyone on the stream is going to learn Phaser at the same time. And then at a certain point, I can say I know how to write video games, but till then, not so much. So I'm just going to copy this code right out of here. It says set up a Phaser game instance in your JavaScript code. So super awesome game. I'm going to put in a script. We can put in the type. I don't even know if anyone really does that anymore, but. And actually, let's make this an external script. I'm going to call it game.js. I do want this to be separate from the HTML. Just makes things cleaner and easier. So we'll go over your localhost 3000. This is our super awesome game. Of course, it's not doing anything right now, but that's where ChatGPT is going to come in. So set up a game instance. This code sets up a new Phaser game instance with some basic configuration. You can customize the configuration to meet your game's needs. Let's look at what it's set up so far. Oops. So far, we have Phaser Auto. It's 800 by 600, so it's the same as before. And then it's for our scene, we're building that preload, create, update, etc. Now it says add scenes. A Phaser game is composed of one or more scenes. Each scene represents a different part of the game, such as a main menu or a game level. To add a new scene, create a JavaScript file and define a new scene class. So this is going to be main scene.js. And as you can see here, we have a constructor, we have preload, create, update, delete. Those are things that we're familiar with from last week. And we're going to call this main scene.js. We're just going to follow this along and see, just kind of see how far we can get with ChatGPT today. Main scene.js. Coolio. Now what are we going to do with this class? Register scenes. Once you've defined your scene classes, you need to register them with your game instance. You can do this by adding the following to your game configuration. So let's give that a shot. Go back to game.js, scene. Yeah, it looks like scene. Oh, config, scene, main scene. So we just need to do main scene, I believe. So we can get rid of all these and just do this. Don't see anything different on the page yet, but we still haven't put in our div or anything cool like that. So we're still working on it. Yeah, scenes are like different levels or like opening and closing, fun stuff like that. And I need to sign into yet another thing here. I apologize. Perfect. Yet another sign in. There we go. Perfect. So now we have our main scene class as a main scene. Run your game. Once you've set up your game, you can run it by opening an HTML file in the browser. So these are the steps to create a game in Phaser. This is not enough to actually start a game. I know enough about Phaser to know that that's not enough. However, we're getting close, right? So let's go through and let's create the div that we need to create in here. I will go through all of this. Actually, we'll just close this whole script. And I thought there was like a game div in here last time we did it. Nope. So let's just start pulling in. We'll pull in some stuff from this one. We need to add this physics to our game. So we'll add that in here in our config. Add in our physics. And I honestly thought we'd get a little bit farther with this, but let's see. We could put, how do you draw a background image with Phaser? And one thing I'm going to do, this add image. There was a couple of libraries that I had purchased, so now I need to find. Go here. Download. It's not plugins that I was looking for, like assets, or basically like asset packs that I found, and we're gonna see, Pixel. It was Pixel something. There we go. Pixel Adventure. This one. We're going to download this and see if we can do something with it. And I've already purchased this, so I'm just going to go straight to the downloads. I'm going to go in here, repo, phaser, pixel adventure, and we're going to figure out how we're going to extract this here. And I'll put a link to this in the chat. So this is an asset pack for building phaser games. And you can actually build games and make money off of these if you so choose. They're free to use. And yeah, it's pretty cool. They have a suggested donation. I donated to them earlier because I like to support that kind of work. That kind of stuff is really cool to me. So we'll take some of these assets here. Here's our phaser game. We want to new window here and go to the phaser stuff and check out some of those assets. Phaser. Oops. Okay, and under free, we have background. Here's the different backgrounds. So for this, we're just going to copy all of them. Copy into assets. We're just going to copy all of them. And I notice we have that sky background. We could try out the sky background with our ChatGPT code really quick, but we're probably going to put in pixel adventure backgrounds. So where was I going to go? Oh, we're going to go back here. To draw a background image in Phaser, you can use this add image method in the create method of your scene. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do, we have a preload, this load image. Let's copy that code. And let's put that into our preload. And our path is going to be assets. I think it's sky, yeah, assets sky.png. Perfect. Then the next one, the next bit here. Create the background image and set its position to the center of the screen. Scale the background image to fill the entire game screen. So we just need all of this code, it looks like. We'll put this in our create. And then we'll go back and check. I can go and close that. I will go back and check. Our super awesome game still is not rendering anything. Group type, head, body. Phaser new game. So I'm checking the code from last week's tutorial to see. Interesting. So update with player stuff and update. In create, did I put it in the wrong section? No, it is in create. So maybe it's update is where we need to actually do something. In this example, we first load the preload, blah, 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 scroll factor to 0. Finally, we scale the background image. This should draw a background image in your phaser game. I don't think it is, though. In here, we did load assets. We did all these load image assets. Display an image, this add image. So yeah, this should totally work. Let me check in here. Phaser game. Phaser free background. Oops. back too far. Part 1 HTML may have been different. Nope. All right, so we're just going to have to figure it out. Maybe we're not calling this main scene like we think we are. Maybe we need to pull this whole class into this game.js. Because here I'm loading up. See, we're loading up Phaser. This is our super awesome game. We're loading up Phaser. Then we're loading our class and then our game. Why is it not displaying something? That's the question of the day. So go here. This is our super awesome game. Let's check our console, see if our console, multiple readbacks or image, blah, blah, blah. We've got these errors before. Could not load content. Yeah, we've gotten these warnings before. It still worked. So we're gonna have to find a way to step through this thing here. We'll debug it with Node. Oh, I don't have it. That's right. Phaser's not defined. So, possibly, I'm not ordering them properly. Game.js needs to be loaded first. So what I'm going to do is combine these. Instead of using this main scene, I'm just going to take these and put them in our scene, and we're going to do kind of what we did before. Var config. We have our create, update, preload, etc. In here, instead of scene main scene, we're just going to put in what we had before in the previous stuff that worked. Config, preload. Well, that definitely is not correct. We're going to rip all this stuff out of here really quick. Get bar player. Oh, yeah, function. That's why. Oops. So I need to go back to game.js. These need to be declared because they're no longer in a class. So we need to declare each of these as a function. I'm surprised that I didn't see that. Shocked, I tell you. All right, so now we're not dealing with this class anymore. So we can just remove main scene.js from here, and then we can look and see what it looks like now. Now we're still not getting a screen. However, we're at least focused on this one part here. So we've got our physics, Phaser auto, width 8, etc. Game, new Phaser game config. I believe I have that. Yep. Let's just step through and look at this stuff and see what we got going on. We probably should see if console.log we got here. We should probably see if this JavaScript is even being loaded up. Doesn't appear to be. Source game.js. That is interesting. So we are just looking up here. We could do an iffy on this really quick. Say function, and yeah, I'll just do put this in here. This should tell us if we are loading the file or not. Which seems like kind of hard code to mess up, right? I mean, it seems like it. But no, we are not loading up game.js. This way. No game.js. No idea why. So we'll dump all of this into the actual HTML page for now, just because I want to get moving. Script. Put it all in here. Now let's see what our new game does. Nothing. Body. This is our super awesome game. It should at least say this is our super awesome game, right? I think I just found our problem. That was the problem. I did a closing on that when I should not have. My fault entirely. So this is our super awesome game. That's one of the reasons why I like streaming, is because I don't like to do a whole bunch of preparation and do like a rehearsed thing like you would do up on stage at a tech conference or something, you know, where you practiced your demo 900 times and everything looks great, and then people watch it and they're like, wow, that Jeremy sure is awesome. Never makes any mistakes anytime. But when I'm here on the stream and I'm not, you know, it's not rehearsed, it's not anything like that, it's just real, then y'all get to see me struggle with stuff in real time. And I think that's what makes it fun, is to struggle with stuff in real time, and yeah. And we learn together. So we've loaded our background image. This is all from OpenAI, basically. This is ChatGPT generated. Oh, yeah. The Go just said no ChatGPT. Yeah, we are actually using ChatGPT. I just modified the code a little bit because the ChatGPT code that we had was not working. But we can certainly try it again if we want to. I think we'll just keep everything within this. Keep basically everything within this file for now, this main.js. Now I could say we have this dude PNG that was a sprite that we loaded in earlier. One of the things I want to do is change it to blue JPG. So we'll go to assets, or not JPG, PNG. Let's see what that looks like. Then we'll start trying to put in this pixel adventure stuff. That does not look very blue as it did before. It does not. So we're going to go back to ChatGPT and ask it how to create a tiled background. Add tile sprite method in the create method of your scene. So in our create method, we have background, this background image, add tile sprite 0, 0. It looks like, oh, okay, this camera, so it's bound to the camera height, which is cool. Let's check that out. Let's see how that works. And that is also in the create function. Wow, it's not very blue. I gotta say, that is not very blue. Let's try maybe brown. Nope, it is not loading this properly. That is what I'm getting out of this, is it is not loading this PNG the way we would like it to. So let's figure out why. Let's see if we can figure this load image, background, brown.jpg. Then we're tile sprite, camera main width, background, set origin. And we can ask ChatGPT, but we'll probably end up asking Google this, but what does it mean when you see a black image with a green slash through it in Phaser? Which I don't know if this is a Phaser thing or a browser thing, but we're going to ask. Usually means that Phaser was unable to load the image file. So it is a Phaser thing. Asynchronously, Phaser's unable to load an image file for any reason, it'll display a placeholder image with a green slash through it to indicate the image is missing. The more I use ChatGPT, the more impressed I am with it. So I don't think that ChatGPT should be used to write code. Like, I don't think you should use it to build your whole application and not understand what's going on in the background. However, you can use it as a tool for this. It's like a super Google almost in some ways, especially if it has knowledge. Like, it has a lot of knowledge of Phaser from what I can tell. And that is really cool. Background image, tile position, next one. So it's not able to load the file. And that was blue PNG. And I can tell you exactly why. We are on Linux today. Linux is case sensitive like crazy. So there's our background. That makes me a little bit dizzy just looking at it. Now we want to create a platform to walk on. So what we did last time is we created these groups. We'll go back into part 10. What we did was we created these platform groups, add static group. Remember when we did this? And then we created these from the ground. So we need to establish a good ground image, right? What would make a good looking ground? These ones here don't really look like great ground images. So let's go back to our free and let's see if we have something good. We have these for background. That's cool. Items, terrain. Here we have some terrain, but terrain, as you can see, is a sprite map. So we're going to have to figure out how to do sprites, which I don't know, actually, so I'm not being facetious. We are going to have to figure out how to make these work. So I've worked with these in Unity, other things. I've never worked with it in Phaser, but we're going to figure it out. I'm just going to rename this terrain PNG. And then we're going to jump right back to ChatGPT, our friend, and see if ChatGPT can answer this for us. Maybe it can. Pretty sure it can. How do you use a sprite map phaser to draw a platform. I don't know if we need to actually draw the platform as part of the prompt, but we're just going to see. Create a sprite map. A sprite map is a single image that contains multiple smaller images. So that's probably something that I should have explained when I said, oh, this is a sprite map. I probably should have explained what it is. Let's take a look at it. It is an image that contains a bunch of little images, like it said in ChatGPT. And what we want to do is to specify which of these we want to use, break it into an array, and then we can just like repeat a bunch of these. Like I want to put this on the ground. So we'll figure out how to do that. And it's giving us a ton of code. But we want to load the sprite sheet here. So in our preload, we'll load a sprite sheet. However, in this example, it's showing frame width 32 and frame height 32. I don't think that's right because we have a 16 by 16 sprite map. So we'll probably have to do a little modification to that. So in our preload, this load sprite sheet, we're going to call this platform, and we're going to map it to sprite, and I'll check that, or terrain. And it looks like it is capitalized terrain.png. We'll leave the frame width and height for now, but it's probably going to have to change. In this example, we load up the sprite map using this load sprite sheet method. First parameter is a unique key to identify the sprite map in Phaser. And this is something that we've worked before with. We did this last week where you say, we're going to name this platform. You can name it anything you want. We're naming it platform. Okay, and then the second parameter is the path to the image file. The third parameter is an object that specifies the width and height of each sprite in the map. Now we know that's 16 by 16, so let's just change it right now. Each of those are 16 by 16. Cool. I don't know why I keep bringing up that one. You can create a platform group. So this is exactly what we did before, where we create a group and we assign collision detection to it, things like that. So const platforms, this is going to be yet another static group. So now we have our platforms. It's very similar to last time. Okay, next you can add individual sprites to the platform group to create the platform. For example, now in here it's getting a little wild. So we have a platform map, const, tile width, etc. And then we have a for loop that goes through, and it looks like row, platform map. Yep. So it goes through the length of this platform, and it says doot, 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 each one, and it draws the tiles accordingly. Now this is not going to work when we just dump it in here. I believe this is the proper amount. It's not going to work when we dump it in here. However, we're still going to, we're going to try. We're going to try to make this thing work. It's platform map. Let's just look at the page right now and see. Oh, we have a platform there. However, it's not loading up the images, and that's fine because we don't know yet which image we're even going to use. And we're going to go 16 by 16 here. It's a 16 by 16 map. And now we know, because we learned earlier, what this black box with a green stripe means. We learned that means Phaser didn't load it up. That's all it means. So we have our platform map, which is just an array. these draw, platform create, etc. I think we want to add a platform similar to what we did last week. Instead of doing it this way, the Chat GPT way, I think we really want to do it a little differently. What I'm trying to find here is where the sprite is loaded in. Because we have a static group, we have a platform map, with const tiles, tiles length, tile column. If tile is an X, so it's just looping through this. If it's an X, let's create column times tile width, which is 16, row times tile height, platform. It's in that platform group, which is terrain.png. Platform, set origin of 0, 0, and then refresh body. So I don't really know. Well, it's working. Let's try assets. Terrain PNG, so we at least can load up the right one. There we go. But see, that doesn't really look right either, because that's a piece of our terrain here. Kind of looks like a piece of this one. But maybe I'm wrong. And there is an application to build tile maps that we're going to try out. And it is another one that I purchased earlier. However, I did not tiled for Linux. Put this in our repos. It's an app image. I can't open app images, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't open app images in Arch Linux. So we might not be able to use the tiled editor like this. Oh, maybe. Just says to mark it as executable, so I'm just going to throw it on my desktop and try to run it as an executable. Let's see, download, our desktop, say tiled, just for now, show in folder. Make it executable, double click on it. Yeah, I want to execute it. You betcha. We'll have to execute it in terminal. App images require views to run. File system and user space. I don't want to mess with all that, so we're not going to do that today. I'll figure that out before doing my next stream. I think is how we'll handle that. Even though it does say there's a tiled snap and a flat pack. I could install snap and then I should be able to just let's just do that real quick. What the heck? Sounds fun. We will go back to our prompt. clone snapd, and I'm going to put snap on here. Even though I don't really like snap, I want to use this. I'm just following this tutorial to a T here. Yes, we want to do this. This tile map editor really makes a big difference. And so I want to try it out to see if we can edit our tile map a little bit better and figure it out. We're going to figure it out together. Now that I have snap on here, I should be able to tiled snap. And this thing is crack-lacking away at us. Thank you all for standing by. All right, and then there was another, we have to enable it. Looks like we did, okay. Now we should be able to say sudo snap install tiled. Nope. If it does not work, just try it again. And while that thing's installing, let's look at our code and see if there's anything different we could do here. Because I'm just not real sure. Like maybe this. Not really sure where we're actually specifying the tile that we want to use, right? So let's change this to 3232 again. Let's go back to our super awesome game and see 32 by 32 doesn't really change anything. I mean, it just spaces them apart. But how are we specifying exactly which one we want to use? That is what I'm trying to figure out. Platform 0. And I mean, what happens if we use blue? Or I mean, like pink, .png for the asset. Oh, see, now we have a platform here. So I'm wondering if we don't even need to install, or we don't even need to use a sprite sheet for this. Even though it is loaded as a sprite sheet, we could probably load this as an image. Let's try that real quick. Platform, and this is going to be pink. Let's see what it looks like now. It actually looks better. Sort of. Sort of, kind of. But these are 32, I believe. The sprite sheet we're trying to use is 16, but this, I believe, is 32. So it's still overlapping, which is interesting. So in this example, we'd find a 2D array called platform map that represents the layout of the platform using the sprite map. The letter X is a solid platform tile, and spaces represent empty tiles. We then loop over the rows and columns of the platform map array and create a new sprite for each solid tile. We create the sprite using the create method of the plat and specifying the XY position of the sprite based on the row and column index and the size of each tile. Okay, so we're going to go back to our terrain. Since ChatGPT kind of explained it a little bit to us here. Tile width, tile height, each column. So let's just kind of think this out here. Platform map is this. Row map create. Platform 0. Platform set origin 0, 0. That's for the platform origin. Actually, it made sense when I read it, but now it doesn't make sense again. And yeah, my snap is still going wild, so we're just not even going to worry about that today. So we have this platform here. I mean, it did make sense when I read it, but let's read it again. In this example, we have a 2D array, so we know called platform map. Letter X is a platform. We loop over the rows and column of platform map and create a new sprite for each solid tile. We create the sprite using the create method right here. Platform group specifying the X and Y position of the sprite based on the row and column index, the size of each tile. So we can start playing with that, right? Where we're like, got one that works, but what if we change these? Row times tile height, 10, like 16, 16. I don't know. We're just putting in random numbers here just to see if we can find our place on that sprite map. And there's the entire sprite map now, which is cool, but we want to select this one somehow. So platforms create. What we can do is let's see what values this is spitting out as it's going. We're going to say console log call tile width, and we're going to do another one that's row and tile height. Let's just see what those values are that it's spitting out. Just tons of them. Super interesting because it should no longer be. That is interesting. Yeah, it should not be, now that we're back on terrain.jp or PNG, but it should not be spitting out the entire terrain like it was doing before. Let's try clearing out our cache a little bit. 64, 128, 96. Not found. Okay. So now instead of displaying it, now it looks like it's stacking it on top of itself. So we need to figure out how to make it not do that. And when we do this, we say 1616, then it just shows one single instance of it. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and ask. That's just repositions it in a different spot. Specify which phaser. Specify which tile you want to use in a sprite map and phaser. You can use the setFrame method of a sprite. The setFrame method allows you to specify the index of the frame or tile you want to use. Here's an example. So instead of trying to do that platform, well, it's still trying to do the platform, isn't it? Let's change our code to what it's suggesting. We'll get rid of this giant for loop and platform map for now. Sprite, frame, 100, 100. Okay, and we still haven't specified it, but we still haven't followed all the way through. You can also use the frame property of a sprite to set or get frame index. Platform frame equals 2. Let's try that. We just need the last piece here. And since we're kind of running out of time, we might have to jump back into this after playing around. It looks like that did not work at all. Platform set frame 1 displays the whole image again. Texture frown with name 1. So one thing that I know we need to do is create a JSON around this, things like that. So let's start again and say, how do you create a sprite map in Phaser? What are the add-ons, plugins, or APIs that you use with this project? The only thing I'm using is Phaser for this, which is right here, using a CDN going to Phaser, and then that Pixel Frog assets library URL that I posted is where I'm getting the images. And then we are using Phaser from Phaser.io. Actually, I'll just put Phaser.io. That's the JavaScript library that we're using on here. So this is our super awesome game. We are still trying to make our awesome game awesome. To create a sprite map in Phaser, you can use an image editor such as Photoshop or GIMP to create an image that has multiple sprites. Each sprite represents a different frame or state. Here's an example of how to create it. Open your image editor, create a new image file. We've got that. Draw or import the sprites you want to extrude. Each sprite should be the same size and should be positioned side by side or in a row or column. Leave some space between for bleeding and overlap. Save it. So we'll pretend that we did that. Load this thing. Yeah, okay. In this example, we load the sprite map using this load sprite sheet method and the preload method. So we're doing that. Parameter, each sprite's 32 by 32 pixels, which it is not 32 by 32 for us. So let's go back, frame height, assets, terrain, .png. And we look at it and we can see not quite correct, but we're getting there. This sprite header. Frame 2. Let's see what happens when we change it to frame 2. It said 16 by 16. However, it looks like it could be 32 by 32. Oh, no, not quite. Okay. Now we'll keep reading here. Once you've loaded the sprite map, you can create sprites that use the individual frames using this add sprite method. In this example, we create a new sprite using this add sprite method and the X and Y position of the sprite. We also specify the key of the sprite map and the initial frame index, which is 0. This creates a new frame. Okay. So we'll open up the GIMP, discard. We're going to open up over here, phaser, game assets. We're going to open up our terrain PNG. The one that we wanted. Let's zoom in here really quick. The one that we wanted was this one for the platform. So we could take and figure out the coordinates for it. Which looks like it starts at 96 and 0. So we're going to try 96, 0. Not quite. We're going to change it to 32 by 32 or 16 by 16. Still not correct. This adds sprite, X and Y position of the sprite. So it's the key of the sprite map and the initial frame index, which is 0. So we'll try different set frame methods here. Set frame 5. Let's see what it considers frame 5. Frame 5 is nothing. Frame 0. All right, we're getting close to something. 1. And I don't think this 96.0, I don't think this is, I think I was misunderstanding those coordinates. So yeah, those are the coordinates at which we actually place it. So we want to place it all the way down here, which 800 by 600, that means it's going to be at like 5, I don't know. Let's try 580 for right now. I think this should put her, oh, wrong one. This one's supposed to be 580. This one's still 0. There we go. Then we have an issue here. This one I can't figure out exactly what this one is. So these are the coordinates that the sprite is actually going to be placed on the screen. This sample would create a new sprite using this add sprite, X and Y position of the sprite. We also specify the key of the sprite map. My sprite map. Where is my sprite map? The key, okay, that's just the name of the sprite map. When it said key, I was a little confused. And the initial frame index, which is 0. This code creates a new sprite that always displays the first frame of the sprite map. So we're looking at this, and it looks like the first frame is this one. not seeing it. And this is 47, 48. Yeah, this one's 48 by 48. So I don't know why they named it 16 by 16. Looks to me like it's 48 by 48. Let's see if this helps anything. Not so much. Tile sprite. Oh, that's right. Background image. Here we're going to say 48, which is basically 0. Now we can look through, let's see. That's number 16. Let's see what 0 is for this one. Still showing the same one. So I'm going to have to do a little more research on this. I think just kind of playing around. I'm going to have to figure out how this works a little bit better. I did something entirely different on my machine yesterday that I was going to show today, but that machine crashed. So basically just kind of fumbled our way through this. And we made a little bit of progress. We have a background here. We don't have anything else going on, but we got a background. So I'm going to play with this some more. I'm going to install the tile map editors and things like that, and we're going to build some more cool stuff next week. And stay tuned on Thursday when David Neal is going to be working on his Node.js based game, which is pretty cool. I'm very excited about that. And until next time, till next week, I should say, I will see you all later. And thank you for joining my stream today.